So let's go to the end of the Big Salmon Road. We're gonna go to Vinegar Creek. All right, I'm carrying my boat down to the river. The water looks so gorgeous. This is the South Fork of the Salmon. We are here. We're on our own, and it's gonna take us a couple days to paddle out of here. This is gonna be great. What about the bears? But this is how we do it. We paddled 36 miles to get here. Yeah, we kind of feel right now like we're celebrating.
It's 2:30 in the morning, and now it's raining. All I have is this tarp.
Well, we're not in Montana anymore. Today I'm in Idaho. Right behind me here is the Salmon River. I'm not far out of Riggins, Idaho, here on the Big Salmon Road. And I'm headed to Vinegar Creek, which Vinegar Creek is the end of the road here. It's a boat ramp. Now, why would I go to a boat ramp at the end of the road in Idaho? Well, because today we're going on a really special adventure. I'm getting ready to meet up with my buddy Matt. We're gonna start off miles and miles and miles from here, and we're gonna paddle all the way down over 3 days and end up back at Vinegar Creek, back where I'm leaving my Revel van. Now right here, the Salmon River is pretty mild, but where we're gonna be, there's gonna be a lot more rocks and rapids. We're gonna have to carry all of our own gear inside of our kayaks. That means all of our camping gear, including our sleeping bags, all of our food. We're gonna be in the wilderness, just living out of what we can fit in our kayaks. And our kayaks aren't that big. So here we go, another great trip. Wow, the Big Salmon Road, what a beautiful drive this is. The South Fork of the Salmon is one of the last undammed, uncontrolled by man sections of Whitewater, and it is gonna be a wonderful trip through some very wild and rugged country. People in Idaho are special, and I mean, they love rivers, they love camping, they love getting out into the outdoors. I don't know if there's anywhere else in the world where river culture is as strong as it is in Idaho. There's got to be more rafts and kayaks per capita here than almost anywhere. And for good reason. Idaho is loaded with some of the best multi-day, multi-hundred-mile runs in all of the North America, really. People come from all over the world to paddle and float these rivers. So now this is the Big Salmon Road. It goes along the exit of the Salmon River out of the mountains here. This is part of the River of No Return. People actually live up here, and the mail is still delivered by bush plane. And this is one of the most remote places that you can be in the lower 48. There's these families that have owned these ranches along the river where there's no roads. They literally own a jet boat, and they'll go up the river and up the massive rapids in these specialized, super high performance, high powered jet boats. And that's the only way they can access their ranch, other than a long horseback ride or maybe a bush plane flight in. So I love this area. It's always fun to explore here. It's a great place to be in the summer. And I'm excited for this trip because it's gonna be a new river for me. So I gotta get up here to Vinegar Creek. I've got a few hours until my friend Matt is coming to pick me up. Then the two of us will drive in his car all the way to the put-in with the help of his son, Mason. And we're gonna leave my van at the bottom, because 3 days from now, we're gonna be floating down this river and we're gonna need my van to get back up to the top. So we call this a shuttle, and in Idaho, the shuttles are long. So let's go to the end of the Big Salmon Road. We're gonna go to Vinegar Creek. All right, so I made it to Vinegar Creek. We've got a jet boat here taking off. And now I'm kind of frantically packing. We'll need this. Might need this. Here's my buddy Matt. All right, we've paddled a ton together in the past, and I'm super stoked to be doing this run with this guy because we're gonna have a blast. All right, we've got a long shuttle to do, like 5 hours, so we gotta get driving. Let's do this. All right, we've made it all the way down here to the Salmon River, which is the confluence of the South Fork, and this is very close to where we're gonna put our kayaks in the water. We filled out the mandatory permit here. There's a little self-serve kiosk. We just fill it out, put a duplicate in the box, and put this in our dry bag, and we're ready to go. Oh, check this out. Here's Mason. This is our beloved shuttle driver. Thank you so much, Mason, for running our shuttle.
Anytime. That's what I'm here for.
All right, I'm carrying my boat down to the river. The water looks so gorgeous. This is the South Fork of the Salmon. We are here. Okay, here we are, almost to the water's edge. Okay, so as I said earlier, we've got all of our gear, camping gear and whatnot, that we need to stay back here for 3 nights. Now, once he drives away, we're on our own, and it's gonna take us a couple days to paddle out of here, even if we wanted to get out of here fast. Water level's low, so that adds to the time it's gonna take. Who's in a hurry? Because this is beautiful. All right, so we're gonna get switched over into our paddling gear, but we still got a little time to make it down the river a few miles and find a nice place to camp. So we're gonna get on that right now. All right, we're all dressed up, and there's only one place to go, and that's down there. All right, he's bumping through. All right, enough yapping. We gotta make some river miles. We're going downstream. I'm in a brand new boat that I've never paddled. Thanks to Connor Voorhees for loaning me this boat. It is a bigger boat than what I normally paddle, so it has more room and capacity to carry the gear that I have on board on the South Fork of the Salmon. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Clearest water I've ever seen.
Home sweet home.
I think this is for the night.
We've gone about 3.5 miles and we found this little ledge camp here. It is literally a ledge that's gonna be, I don't know, you take out the lumpy parts, it's gonna be about just big enough for the 2 of us to sleep on. We've pulled our boats up on the slab here, and I think it's gonna work just fine. I think it's gonna be kind of a nice spot. But we're in this gorge. If you look above me, there's big cliffs, and it is spectacular. It's almost dark. We've been going all day, driving shuttles and getting down here. So it's gonna feel good to relax a little bit here on our first night in the ledge camp. All right, time to cook up some food and chill out. Good morning, South Fork of the Salmon River. It was a little lumpy, it's a little slopey, but it was a lot beautiful. So we had a good first night. We're just in here, I don't know, maybe 3 miles. And we've got 36 miles until we get to the confluence of the main Salmon River. And then from there, we have 22 more miles till we get back to my Revel van. So we aren't gonna do all that today, but we're gonna put a big dent in it today. So I'm really excited for the paddling today. This is gonna be just really fun adventure paddling. This is gonna be great. Breakfast. The sun finally found us, and we are packing up our kayaks here, getting ready to paddle. Today's gonna be a big day, but you know, we're also both decided that we're not in a big hurry, and if we see something cool, we're gonna stop and enjoy that as well. But we'll take it as it comes, and we have some of the biggest whitewater today, so that's gonna be really fun. And later, I'm gonna show you exactly what we've got in these kayaks and how this whole kayak camping thing works. But right now, we're gonna pack this all up and get on down the river. All right, let's get to paddling. All right, we're off. You're a good camp. Jump out here. Let's go look. Doesn't look that bad.
See how the water's going through there?
It looks like there's a line on the left.
Yeah, there's a line on the left, yeah.
Or another one on the right.
The main line is on the right, yeah.
But hopefully we get to that eddy and we can see.
Yeah.
All right, we know we're getting close to the first big rapid. We're not sure exactly where it is. This one we couldn't quite see all the way down, so we jumped out and walked down here, did a quick scout, and it actually looks really fun and good to go. This is probably the most dangerous part right here, is walking down this
100%,
gravelly trail.
So you can save things.
Just
hold your ankle.
That was really fun. That was an awesome little section through that canyon. And man, South Fork the Salmon is living up to the hype. This is beautiful in here.
Elk Creek Rapid.
It looks like it needs a little more water. I think we could get through it, but it's gonna be scrapey. So there's this line through here, or there's a sneak line over here. Neither one of them look great. All right, so something that's really important safety-wise is anytime we come up to what we call a horizon line, meaning we can't see further down the river because the water drops, that means there's a steep place with probably some big rapids. So we always wanna either get up as close as we can and make sure we can see where we're gonna go and that we have a good line, or like in this case, we couldn't see past it, so we got out of our boats, we walked over here, we call that scouting, And we actually looked from the ground to see what the river's doing and then to pick our line through. So when we go through these harder rapids, we know basically the route that we want to take, and there's no surprises. We've got a really cool log bridge here, so this makes for a really nice shortcut. Look at all this driftwood. This is just had all the bark stripped off of it from tumbling around in the river. I've never wanted to make a campfire as bad as I do right now. Well, day 2 down. We have found a lovely camp here right off the river, but up here in the trees a little bit. There's a nice flat spot. There's a fire ring here. I don't know that we're gonna use it because I'm a little worried that the fire danger is a little too high to be making a campfire. But it has nice level spots here in the pines, and we're gonna be able to hang up our hammocks, which was the one guilty pleasure I brought, was a hammock. And it is gonna be nice to stretch it up here and hang out. So we're about 22 miles down the river now, and I think this is gonna be a good spot. Now, honestly, we haven't seen that many flat places along the river. These hills are so steep, they come right down to the water, and there haven't been a lot of places that look like good camps. But this clearly is one. There is some old mining debris here that tells me that probably an old miner in the turn of the century or sometime was working here. We're gonna take advantage of that, and it's gonna be a nice place for us to sleep tonight. Well, it's interesting to find these old relics of people were here probably during the gold rush, and there's a lot of it. We've gone by a lot of weird little places when you see old bits of machinery and engine blocks and things just sitting on the side of the river. I think it came from that era. Matt's already got his hammock up. Good job, Matt. Well, it's getting dark now. We are bedded down here in the woods right off the edge of the river. It has been the perfect day. We're just sleeping out cowboy camping style. I know some of you guys had comments on that from my video where I was driving Abby's truck across California and Nevada and onward. And yes, we're cowboy camping again here and just throwing our bags out under the stars. And it's a gorgeous night to do it. And really, this time of year in Idaho, it's typically very dry. All right, so that's it for tonight. We're calling it early, and we're gonna go to bed because we're pretty tired. We paddled almost 20 miles today, and it feels like it. So, see you guys in the manana. Good morning, South Fork of the Salmon River. It was another really nice night last night. You know, the clouds blew in yesterday afternoon. I got a little tiny worried that it was gonna rain. It didn't rain. The clouds just built up in the afternoon, and then as soon as the sun set, clouds dissipated and we had bright, clear stars. I slept really good last night. I am on my thermarest here, and it does have a tiny, small leak. I thought I patched it, and I did patch one hole, but there must be one more. It is like if you compare it to like your car tire, it's the kind of leak where you maybe leak 1 or 2 PSI every couple of days. It just is gradually going slow. So I can get through the night, but in the morning it's getting pretty low. It's not empty, but it's low. And that's where I am. I need to find a place here on the river where there's not a lot of current and I can sink the pad and look for the bubbles and then patch it. I have a patch kit with me. It's super easy to do. I just need to take the time to do it. I thought I'd talk to you guys a little bit about how we carry our gear and stuff on the river. This right here is a watershed dry bag. It's kind of like a little duffel bag that has this big Ziploc style closure on it. These are very, very dry, and it's a heavy duty urethane material. And with this Ziploc, it really seals up well, and it's about the only thing that I trust my camera equipment to on the river.
if I happen to come out of my kayak and this happened to have to float down the river for a while, it's the one bag that I really, really trust to be dry. When these are sealed up right and strapped down on themselves, they are incredibly watertight. And then I also have some more traditional, these are what they call roll top dry bag. This is like about a 10 liter. I use those things for less important things like my fleece jacket and my food, which this food is packaged in a way that it is totally waterproof on its own. I don't really worry about it getting wet. Things like that, things that aren't critical that could dry out pretty fast. But my camera gear and my sleeping bag, and I'd put my sleeping pad in there too, although it would dry really fast as well. The critical things get put in the very high quality bags, and the less critical things go in these lighter weight, cheaper dry bags, which they're actually pretty dry too if you roll them up right. But all in all, we don't really have that much stuff. I have one dry bag with my electronics in it, which is this camera that I'm filming on. It's got some battery chargers. It's got wag bags, which is a portable toilet kit because we don't want to leave human waste back in here. I've got my food for the day in there, which is kind of my lunch stuff. And then just a few random things like paracord. I don't know, let's dig in here and see. Use an inReach satellite communicator. I've been using this to talk with Kathy and just give her updates as we go. That's really a nice thing. So let me take you through a few of the things that I've got in my main watershed bag. I like to have a bandana. You never know when you need a bandana. It's good for so many things. Blowing your nose to keeping the sun off your neck, whatever it might be. Sunglasses, my toothbrush. Here's wag bags. These are a portable toilet device. Basically, it's a bag system where you can put your poop in the bag, seal it up in the first bag, and then it has a secondary bag that seals it up again. And it makes it for a really safe and easy way to get human waste out of these wild places. You know, we don't want to be leaving anything for the next person. I'll just put it that way. I've been using these Goal Zero batteries. They help keep the cameras running and my phone charged up, and also the inReach device. Black diamond headlight. I've got a block of cheese and a Snickers bar. I keep that in my bag for lunches. And then I don't know, there's random stuff. I've got a little bag of toilet paper. Our river permit is in there. I'm carrying a tiny little first aid kit on this trip. Okay, now here's a good one. This is squeeze packet peanut butter. I'm getting to where I will almost only buy this in the store. Now, this is a small one. When I'm in the van, I buy the bigger ones. But I love this stuff because it's peanut butter, which who doesn't like peanut butter? And when you use these, they're so easy and clean just to squirt them onto whatever you need. And also, as you use it up, it gets smaller, unlike a jug of peanut butter, a jar of peanut butter that stays the same size no matter how much peanut butter's in it. I just love these things, and honestly, at stores that don't sell these, I am kind of boycotting buying peanut butter from them. And I will go to 2 or 3 grocery stores searching out the squeezed peanut butter instead of buying it in a traditional jar. There's my peanut butter rant. What else we got in the orange bag? I will always have one of these Patagonia little hip packs. These are great. I've got a little money in here. I've got, when I'm outside of this bag, I put my cell phone and any like critical things go in this, and it's just a nice little way to keep things organized, the important stuff. I like to carry about 100 feet of parachute cord, 550 cord. This stuff is great for a million uses. For lunches, I have a pack of tortillas. The best backcountry bread you can have is tortillas. They can take a beating, they don't get squished, and they're really good. And maybe the last thing is I always carry a little lighter in my watershed bag, and I always have it wrapped in duct tape. It's a great way to carry duct tape. You can use duct tape for a million things. You can use it even to patch a boat. If we get a hole in a boat, it will get us out having some duct tape. And then a lighter. You know, I don't smoke or anything, but having a lighter is great for if you got to make an emergency fire, or you got to sometimes melting cord, or sometimes to patch a hole in a boat, you need to get it hot so you can kind of weld the plastic back together. It's just good to always have a lighter. And then I carry a little tiny tripod for my action cameras, or for this camera that I'm holding right now. That can really be nice as well, just to get those little shots. Sometimes I will bring my full-size tripod back in here on these kind of trips, but on this trip I decided I wanted to go a little lighter, and I didn't mess with the tripod. So I have 4 of these bags. I have one that goes in my lap when I'm in the kayak, and it has all my stuff that we just talked about, all these electronics and lunch and sunglasses and all that. Then I have another one that has the tent and the sleeping pad and the tarp in there. That's kind of my camp bag. And then I have another one that has my hammock and a bunch of extra clothes. It has like this fleece, and I'm really only carrying clothes-wise. I brought a pair of lightweight kind of jogging pants. I brought a pair of socks that I haven't worn yet, a pair of underwear, a t-shirt, and this Melanzana fleece. And what else? Oh, I brought a sun hoodie as well. And that's about it. Didn't bring a lot of clothes because most of the days I'm just strictly in my surf trunks and my paddling gear, and we're going down the river. So only time I need anything else is when we're at camp, and what I just listed has worked really well. Now on this trip we did not bring a tent. We just decided to cowboy camp every night, and so far it's worked out good. If the forecast had looked like there was a better chance of rain, I would have brought a tent. It's been great cowboy camping, and it really helps keep the weight down and the bulk in the boats if you don't have to bring a tent. Okay, cowboy camping like this, I know you guys are gonna ask, what about the bears? Aren't the bears just gonna walk up and eat us? Well, it hasn't happened yet. And typically bears here in the lower 48 of North America don't usually have humans on the menu. So I'm not too worried about the bears getting me. I'm more worried about maybe bears getting into our other food, like my peanut butter and stuff like that. And we will hang food if we feel like we need to. The boats are kind of nice because you can store stuff in the boats, and it makes it a little harder for critters to get into. No, I'm not worried about wild animals attacking me in the night, sleeping out. I've done this so many times, and it is just such a nice way to sleep. Waking up, looking up at the stars and seeing the moon come up, and it's just a great way to sleep. So this is it. This is cowboy camping. This is our kitchen. There's the little Gigapower stove and the titanium pot, and it all folds up into this little black bag. Super compact and easy. All right, getting clean water is a pretty critical part of this. This is a platypus filtration system. It has this top bag here that is the dirty bag, and it comes down and there's an inline filter that filters the water clean, and then it goes down with gravity into the lower bag. And you can see the lower bag's full. Matt just recently went and scooped a bunch of water out of the river, and that now has 4 liters of clean water. And all we had to do is scoop it, and gravity does the rest. And here's Matt having a wonderful breakfast. He's got his coffee and some Kodiak oatmeal, and that's a good breakfast. The hammocks are one of the only little guilty pleasures we brought. They're extra weight, they're extra space, and not always I'll bring them, but in this case, they were really great yesterday, and not having to just sit on a rock or something. I pack this stuff in the boat. A lot of it goes in the stern of the boat. Then the one orange bag that has my cameras and all my daily stuff, my lunches, that rides in my lap, right under the skirt, between my legs. And then my extra food rides up in the bow. And I try to put some weight in the bow so not everything is in the back of the boat, so it trims it out a little bit and keeps it a little more level. One thing is you just don't want to forget that you do have storage space in the front of the boat. And it is really nice to balance it out as much as you can. All right, there's a little overview into how we pack and how we get our gear in a kayak and down the river and keep it dry and safe. I'm gonna have breakfast, and we're gonna pack this camp up and head on down the river. We've got to do about 20 miles today. It's gonna be good. So we'll pack it up and get on with it. All right, here's our camp. We've packed up.
We've done what I call an idiot check, where we walk around and make sure that we're not idiots and leave something. But camp looks pretty clean. I just got to get my boat and my paddle, drag it down to the water, and we're out of here. So here we go. We're pushing off day 3 on the South Fork of the Salmon. This place is awesome. We're off. Why don't you take a quick look, see? We came to another horizon line here and we jumped out for a quick scout. We're kind of glad we did, because this is a really boulder choked little rapid, and there's going to be a couple of lines that we could take. I think we've identified one that's pretty much down the middle that goes between some of the big rocks. This is going to be a fun one. But this is how we do it. We're going to stop anytime we can't see further. We get out, walk down the rocks, and get a better look. And in this case, I'm glad we did, because the obvious way, looking from the top, the little bit that we could see would have us going to the left, and I think the center line is going to be much better now that we're seeing it from a couple different perspectives. All right, so we're going to watch the water, what it's doing for just a minute, and make sure we're happy with our line, and then we're going to go back up, get in our boats, and run down it. That was cool. Well, we've stopped on this beautiful beach here for lunch, sat on this rock here. It was a great spot. We've also seen some bighorn sheep that are up in the rocks above us. We've run some pretty good rapids today. We've got, I think, a few more before we meet up with the main salmon, but we've got to camp before we get there. So we're gonna go about 5 more miles, and then we're gonna start getting really serious about figuring out where we want to camp. Here we go. Well, here it is, our last camp on the South Fork of the Salmon River, Idaho. We've paddled 56 miles to get to this point. The mountain you can see right there through the trees, right there, is right underneath the main salmon. We're at the Confluence right here. There's a little island, and the main salmon is right on the other side. This is literally the last place we could legally camp with the permit that we have right now. Once we pull out onto the main salmon, we gotta go all the way to the revel van. And that doesn't mean that we can't paddle through the main salmon, it just means that we can't stop and camp on the main salmon. So this is it. This is the last camp, and I think it's gonna be a good one. We are seeing chukars and quail and deer and bighorn sheep. We've seen a lot of critters today. It's been really a good day for that. You know, we're kind of tired. We're looking forward to making some backpackers meal, hanging out here. We're gonna get the hammocks up shortly and just enjoy our last evening back here in the wilderness. So there it is. I'm gonna get this wet gear off. We're gonna get it moved in for the night. Okay, I'm gonna take you a quick tour of how I pack this stuff in my kayak. All right, here's the boat I paddle. This is a Jackson Kayak large flow. As I come in here close, you're gonna see behind the back band, there's a lot of space. This right here is the shafts to my breakdown paddle. That's a spare paddle in case one of us breaks a paddle. Here is my first dry bag. That's got some food, my hammock, and some clothing. Then over here is my platypus water filter. Then inside here on the other side, I have my sleeping bag. And it's in there really tight. Let's see if I can get this out. Okay, that took a little bit of a struggle with two hands. This bag did fit back there. This is a watershed bag. It's called the Largo Tote. It's honestly a little too big for this trip, for this boat. Okay, and then the last bag is hiding under here. And this one is a great size. This is super easy. This is just an NRS roll top bag. These fit really good in these creek boats. I think that is the way to go. And as you can see here, that's it. There's the back of the boat, and there's the back of the boat. Here I've got my my pin kit, some carabiners. Underneath the seat is the breakdown paddle. Let's see it sits right there, and I can just kind of wedge it under the seat. All right, and that's pretty much it. I've got a couple of things of food in the bow, but it's mostly all in the stern. In these 4 bags, I can carry everything I need. All right, so that's everything we needed for this 3.5-day trip. Remember, the first day we put on kind of late, so I'm counting that as a half day. I could do another 3 or 4 days out of this if I just added more food. I'd pack more in the bow if I did that way. Okay, we're gonna set up camp here. We've hiked up here to the hillside above the confluence of the South Fork and the main salmon. We're looking down here on it. What a sight to see. We paddled 36 miles to get here, and now we have 22 more to do in the morning before we get back to the van. It's gonna be our biggest day yet, but it's also gonna be really fun. We've got all the water from the South Fork, all the water from the main converging here. So hopefully we're gonna make better time. We're gonna be able to go a little faster. So yeah, we kind of feel right now like we're celebrating that we paddled the South Fork, but it's not over yet. We're feeling pretty special because we've got to do something that is a little more off the beaten path, I think. And we definitely had the whole thing to ourselves. We didn't see another paddler on our whole journey, and that is not how it's gonna be on the main. So it's a great end of the trip as far as the South Fork goes, but it's just the beginning of a big day tomorrow on the main Salmon River of Idaho. All right, we're gonna go back to camp, chill out a bit, and we'll see you guys in the morning. It's 2:30 in the morning, and we're cowboy camping, just throwing our bags out under the stars, and now it's raining. All I have is this tarp. So I'm going to kind of use it as a makeshift rain fly. Just throwing it over myself. I've got some rocks holding it down at my feet, and I'm holding it with my hands over my head. Hopefully the rain doesn't last very long. Okay, the rain is coming down even harder now. We just needed one more night of this perfect weather we've had. It doesn't look like we're going to get it. Luckily, I have my trusty tarp here. And it's going to double as a tent tonight. Alright, I've been hiding under the tarp for about an hour, and I'm starting to see one little star pop through. So I think maybe the storm has blown through and I can go back to bed. I'm also laying here and I heard something go and I popped out from under the tarp, looked, and there was a deer just right there. I think I startled him. Well, I'm gonna try to go back to sleep. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the morning, and this is it for the night.
Well, good morning. What a night. It kind of sprinkled off and on all night long. And then the deer were over here. I almost got stepped on by a deer. I think he was more surprised than I was, which I was pretty surprised. And now it's first light. A bush plane just took off from the ranch over here and just flew really low over us. That was kind of an exciting way to wake up. So I don't know, we'll see if we can sleep a little more. So we did not sleep much last night. And then we have the long paddle out. Yep. I feel sprinkles again. All right, I'm gonna hide under my tarp for a while. All right, survived the night. That was maybe the roughest night of the whole trip so far. We're in a beautiful spot, but the rain kicked in. I wrapped up in my tarp like a human burrito. It actually worked really great. It was fine for the amount of precip that we got. If it had really rained, I would have gotten soaked, but just these little off and on sprinkles. By the time the next sprinkle would roll around, the tarp had already dried from the previous one, so it worked out pretty good. There's a little settlement over here that is totally off the grid, and they have their own little runway, and little small planes can land there. And early this morning at first light, a plane took off and buzzed right over us. So that was a pretty good alarm clock. Now it's still kind of cloudy, it's a bit breezy, and we've got the 22-mile paddle out of here. We're about to jump in the boats, jump on the main salmon, and cruise it downstream back to the van. I want to thank our patrons for supporting this video. You guys make this happen. It's these guys right here. Thank you so much for your support. You guys really do keep us out there doing these kind of things. Also, a huge thanks to Winnebago, the Winnebago Revel. It's our home. It's what makes all these things possible, allows us to live in these beautiful places and then go on these side trips like we are right now, sleeping under tarps. I gotta admit, last night as I was laying under the tarp, all curled up and listening to the rain drop on my head, I was thinking, wow, it's gonna be nice to be back in my Revel van. You guys are the adventure enablers. Thank you so much. Idaho, what a place. This place is amazing. If you haven't spent much time in Idaho, you guys should come out here and check it out. And there's so much to offer. There is a million opportunities here for you to find a wonderful adventure and spend some time in some beautiful public lands. Also, thanks to Connor Voorhees. He loaned me this boat that I'm paddling today, and it's very similar to the boats that I carry, except it's one size up. And having that bigger size allows me to accommodate carrying this extra gear in the boat, and that's been very helpful. So thank you, Connor. But video's not over yet. We still got to paddle out of here, make it back to the van, and then I'll say goodbye there. And who knows what's gonna happen before we get there. Okay, we're getting geared up. We're getting ready to push off. All right, ready? Woohoo, shallow. Quite a nice camp. All right, here we are. This is the Confluence, the South Fork in the Main. We are on the main salmon. See how warm the water is? Wow. Dang, it's like bathtub water. Hello. How's it going? Great. How you doing? Good. All right, we're on the main salmon. We're making the grind. There's been a lot of flat water today. We've got about 10 more miles to the van, and it's making us earn it. We've had a headwind, we've had it raining, and it's kind of chilly today, especially me in this short sleeve top, but we're doing it. And it is still Beautiful.
Well, we made it. We're at Vinegar Creek. This is where the van is. It's just right over there. I got to walk over and get it. But what a trip. When we put on the river on the South Fork, it was at 2.0 on the gauge. Now, we'd never done the river before, but we felt like that was a really fun level. We had a good time. I could see how if it had a little more water, it would be even better. 2 was great for us. I would do it again at 2. What do you need to know about this? Well, you do need a permit to run this section. The permits are easy to get as of the summer of 2025. We got it right there at the put-in. It was a self-registration. It gave us the ability to then paddle the whole South Fork of the Salmon over really however many days we wanted. There's no limit as of right now. We made it to the takeout now, and it's quit raining, which is even better for loading up. And I'm super grateful that my buddy Matt Hargrove wanted to do this and had the time. And this has been a bucket list for me for a long time to get to do this river. So thank you so much, Matt. All right, so now we're gonna load up the van. We're gonna head towards McCall, Idaho, and we're gonna go to a place called Ice Cream Alley. Look up Ice Cream Alley. They give you one single scoop is as big as your head. Not really, but it's really big. We're gonna get ice cream. We deserved it. And until then, I hope I see you somewhere over the horizon. Take care, guys. We're out of here. We did it! Let's go get ice cream.